Guys, I am back with Ramiro Corbetta and Doug Wilson from Sports Friends. You guys, Sports Friends is so cool, insane, weird. I love it. So, for people who are not familiar, tell us a little bit about Sports Friends.
So Sports Friends is a collection of 4 indie local multiplayer games. We got Johann Sebastian Joust, the game by me. We got Ramiro's Hokra, it's a minimalist sports game. We got Super Pole Riders, which we're going to play in just a second, and Bar
Always makes me giggle when I say it.
Yeah.
Super Pole Riders? Say it, let's hear it.
Super Pole Riders.
And the idea is, local multiplayer, couch gaming, gaming with friends at parties or in the living room, bringing people together, and just having fun with like replayable competitive multiplayer games.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about, people have heard about Joust, right? Like, Joust got a lot of buzz going in the games media, and what made you decide, like, I'm not just gonna release Joust, I'm gonna get my friends together and we're gonna release 4 games in one? How does that come about?
Well, it almost felt kind of like in spirit with the game, right? We're gonna play a little Pole Riders.
Pole Riders.
Pole Riders. We'll play some Pole Riders while we talk.
We have 4 games, and they're all, so Joust is a physical game, you play with a Move controller, and it's face-to-face, but it's still kind of in the same spirit as a game like Pole Riders that we're playing now, which is bringing people together and having laughs with these kind of, on the surface, like silly and kind of stupid, but also like strategic and deeply competitive games. And so this mix of like competition and strategy, but also like ridiculousness and like a social vibe in the living room.
And I feel like the idea of couch gaming, of party gaming, of simple to understand games that everybody can get together and play and pick up has kind of disappeared a lot in the last few years.
I think maybe a little bit, especially with like the focus on online.
Yeah, I feel like it's making a comeback right now, though. Like there are a bunch of other games like this coming up now, which is super exciting to us. And hopefully, like, we're somewhat influential in making this a thing. But I don't know. I mean, like playing games like Joust made me want to make, games like that, like crazy party games.
So tell us what is going on in Super Pole Riders right here. Explain the game.
So Doug's getting lucky. That's the most important thing. I'm the blue player making a comeback right now.
The Super Pole Riders is by Bennett Foddy, who's this crazy guy who did QWOP, this famous browser game, and other games like GURP. And he had this game called Pole Riders. The original version of this was an online browser game. And we saw it and we were like, this is amazing. It's got kind of this physics-based fun that a lot of his other games have. So here we are, we're kind of jumping and moving, and you can hoist yourself into the air with your pole, and I'm trying to hit the ball into my goal, and Ramiro's trying to hit his ball into the other goal. And so I'll jump up and run and try to kick it, Ramiro will try to block it, or I can hit it with my pole or my foot, and so we're basically, and if I stomp on him like that, he's kind of out for a little bit, and then he'll really...
Part of the fun of this game is that, like, it's supposed to be this kind of confusing, awkward movement where it's just, you're just trying to do something and things just keep going wrong, and there's this like jiggly pole that you're trying to balance on, and
I love the interaction when the 2 characters get within proximity of each other too. Yeah. There's all this stuff with overlap and like slapping the other guy down and just kind of getting tangled up in each other.
One almost becomes kind of like a sword fighting combat game when you get close, right? Like I'm gonna try to stomp him when we get close. Oh man, I just missed him. But yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Bam, so
it's. I mean, we've been showing here on the E3 floor, and a lot of people who play for the first time, at first they're like, "What's going on?" And then about like 10 seconds in, they're like, "Oh, okay, this is hilarious." And I just, it's this like confusion, and like everyone's just cracking up all the time.
And so what's cool is like the controls are pretty minimalistic. So we're just using the analog sticks, one to move the character and one to rotate the pole. So like input wise, it's pretty simple. But in terms of like the physics system, it's kind of this thing like easy to learn, hard to master.
Yeah.
It's got like a certain replayability to it.
And you can say that about all the other games, I think, that are part of Sports Friends. Joust, obviously, is this sort of freeze tag variant with a lot of strategy to it in terms of like invincibility, knocking other people out. There are a lot of things going on there. But tell us about the other 2 games that are going to be included with Sports Friends. Ramiro, you've got Hokra.
Yeah, so I made Hokra, which is this like very, very, very minimalist sports game for 4 people. You need 4 people in the same room to play it. And it's, it looks very, very simple. It's just all the characters are just squares, and there's a ball that's also a square, and you gotta score the ball, put the ball in a goal, which amazingly enough is also a square. and it's all about like working. It's a 2-on-2 game, and it's all about working with the other player. It's about like coming together with your teammate and making the right pass, and like dodging at the right time. And once you get that, really like I tend to talk about it as like a game for yelling. Like you're yelling at your teammate, going like, no, let's go, come on, do this, do that. And then you're yelling at the opponents. You're like, you guys suck, we're so much better than you are. And then you're kind of yelling at yourself when you can't get it right. And it's one of those games that just makes you want to like scream and like, get really into it.
It's almost, to me, it feels like the digital version of like, it's analogous to air hockey or foosball, right?
Yeah.
Where there is a lot of physics to it, there is a lot of complexity to it, but the interaction is like so simple.
Well, it's a game you can get good at, right? Playing over time, and that's part of the idea with the Sports Friends games. Is, I love party games. We wanted to kind of do party games that were accessible and spectator friendly, but also had like a competitive depth to them, something that you could get better at over time, kind of almost like a sport or something.
Yeah, and so that brings us to Barabari Ball, which is interesting. Yeah. It's kind of like a cross between Super Smash Brothers and Super Dodgeball in my mind.
Yeah, we sometimes call it like a fighting game mixed with a volleyball game. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, yeah, so like Noah kind of came up in the fighting game scene, and he's really
Noah Sasso, who's the developer of Barabari Ball.
And he, influenced by games like Street Fighter and so forth. But unlike a Street Fighter, there's a ball in this game, and you're trying to dunk the ball on your side of the court in the water. And so, but like Super Smash Brothers, you can have multiple jumps in the air, so you get a lot of aerial combat. Where like you've got a certain number of jumps.
I think it's something crazy like 8 jumps or something, right? For like
7 currently.
7?
Yeah. And it's just this kind of like Smash Brothers. There's ledge guarding and a lot of position, but also blocking at the right time or like counter attacking at the right time, and a lot of
counting the other dude's jumps too. I do that. Yeah. I'm like, all right, he can't make it. I think I can get this from him.
And
Barabari Ball probably feels like the most hardcore of our games.
In a way.
Yeah, there's like this feeling of like, okay, you're like, it feels like I don't know, it feels like a game that you need to play at like in a really competitive setting, and like you could see like, I was talking to one of the guys who makes Dive Kick, and he's like he's a professional fighter, game fighter, not fighter. Yeah. He doesn't actually fight people. He's not like a UFC guy.
He's a professional fighter who also makes. He's a cage fighter, and he also makes video games.
Yes, and he might also use controllers to fight. And he's just like, I'm amazing at Barabari Ball because that's like I'm a fighting game guy, and I'm good at Barabari Ball.
Yeah, and I think that like you guys keep saying, the underlying theme here is there's a lot more depth and complexity than the mechanics would have you believe when you first pick it up.
Yeah, and I think that's overall the theme here, which is like skill-based, competitive games, but that are easy to get into and fun to watch, and good for social atmospheres, whether that's like a family reunion or a party you're having with your friends some evening.
So tell me a little bit about PlayStation, how you guys decided to bring these games together and bring them to PlayStation.
Well, a lot of the games need controllers. It's not a keyboard.
For me, Hokra was, I programmed it on the computer, so it runs off of computers at first, but to me it was always like a console game. I wanted people in front of the TV. I didn't want them in front of their laptop screen. But it'll work on computers, and it's a great computer game too, but it's like, when you're on a big screen, like a lot of people have 4 controllers, and you sit down on a couch with your friends, that's like the perfect scenario to play Hokra. And I think that's true for the other games too.
Yep, and and Joust uses a Move controller, right? So in our case, the PlayStation Move. And that light on the end of the PlayStation Move was really perfect for the game because you could signal all this stuff like when you were out or what team you're on or when you have a special power-up or something. So it's kind of the perfect fit in terms of the technology. And the guys at Sony were really interested, and they had played the games that we had shown some of the games at IndieCade a few years ago, and they had gotten to try it there. And so it kind of evolved out of that. People seeing the game at festivals, and so it's been cool. It's been a nice kind of like organic process from like spare time little project doing it for fun and showing it more and more and getting more interest. So it's been kind of an amazing journey from like silly little prototype to kind of fully fledged competitive suite of games.
Because I think we all definitely started our projects as like these are just purely passion projects. There was we're always happy with the idea of like releasing them somewhere, but that was never the goal. The goal was like, these are the games we want to play with our friends, let's make them.
Yeah.
And then at some point we're like, oh, look, we're all making these games and we all really like each other's games. Maybe we should work together, you know, maybe we should bring them together. Because all the games, and I think Doug said this already, they're all made by completely different people.
Yeah.
And we just, you know, we each have complete creative control of our own game. And then we help each other with playtesting and ideas and stuff like that. But, you know, this, you know, Paul Riders is Bennett's game, and Joust is Doug's game, and Hoker is my game, and the Barbary Ball is Noah's game.
But I think that was part of it too, almost like, let's get together this band or something.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of really interesting and talented people in the kind of the indie, the smaller dev community, and just like, let's do something together. One, because it'll be fun, but two, like, you know, together we can help each other out a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's almost been the funnest part of that, just trying to like assemble this like super team or something of like, you know, competitive multiplayer developers. So yeah, it's been a blast.
And for me, it's just like amazing that I get to work with these people. These people whose work I've appreciated for so long, and like I get a chance to work with them. And I know it's the same for Doug because he gets to work with me. So.
That's awesome. So tell me, when are we going to be able to get our hands on Sports Friends? This is PS3?
PS3, and the plan actually is fall. So this fall, you can play all 4 games as a part of Sports Friends.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for bringing these by, guys.
Thank
really
you, man.
appreciate it.
Thank
Always
you.
good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Shake your hand.
Yeah, of course you can.
Thank you, Anthony.
For those of you who didn't quite have the time to be with us for the past 8 hours, I don't know what your excuse is, but we've got the wrap-up show coming up next.
Sports Friends, Super Pole Riders, Hokra, Johann Sebastian Joust, Barbary Ball,
PlayStation